News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Jolly good morning to you. This is Newsline, live from the News First desk in Dawson Street in Colombo. And on this wonderful morning, we have got an excellent piece of politicking clip. Let's take a watch. And those astonishing and amazing scenes was yesterday as the SLFP celebrated its 65th annual convention. And obviously to comment on the impact and what it all means, we hope to be joined this morning by Mr. Dinesh Gunawardena by telephone and by the arrival of Mr. Azad Saleh, who is apparently stuck in some traffic this morning. But in the meantime, the newspapers are full of what happened in Malaysia. A group of, it says here, LTT sympathizers decided that the best way of protest was to assault the Sri Lankan ambassador to Malaysia, Mr. Ansar. And these are unacceptable and deplorable scenes, especially when Sri Lanka is supposedly on the road to reconciliation. This is not the only ambassador who's been attacked. My colleague Bandula Jayasekara had his own Royal Canadian Mounted Police security when he was serving in Canada, and it was more than the High Commissioner, it was Bandula who needed the protection of the Canadian police. These events just goes to show that the war outside, even though the LTT military wing has been destroyed, the LTTE elements or the rump of it are still very much alive, are still very much alive and well and kicking. We will bring you a little bit more of this and a comment as soon as we come back after this short break. Don't go away. This is Newsline after all. Welcome back. This is Newsline, and we are delighted to have Mr. Azad Sali with us. Good morning, Azad.
Morning, Farhan.
Traffic not very friendly this morning, then?
A little bit, yeah.
Yes, unfriendly. Perhaps it was all those people coming back from Kurunagala that kept you. But before that, can we go to this business about the Sri Lankan High Commissioner being assaulted by some elements? The paper, the Daily Mirror, says that they were LTT sympathizers. The ambassador was actually dropping off Dinesh Gunawardena, Dagamage, and some others who were leaving to return to Sri Lanka after an official engagement. What do you have to say about these elements, unruly elements?
Actually speaking, all of us saw on television the way Mahinda Rajapaksa went to Malaysia and how the Tamils protested, asking he should not be in this vicinity. I think that spirit kept it going. At that point, that this also could have happened is my view. And the point is this: a Sri Lankan envoy is a Sri Lankan envoy. Nobody can touch him.
Yeah.
But a situation like this, where when he has come to drop our MPs and ministers, this has happened, means this has to be condoned.
It is, indeed. Now, you know, Mr. Sali, the previous government have been accused of nepotism, corruption, bandism, and so on. Nepotism was a key concern of the international community. We have a situation where the United Nations Secretary General was visiting Sri Lanka and decided to sermonize us, which is all well and good. But we are then treated to the information that the UN Secretary General signed off on the appointment of his son-in-law to a key UN position, I think it was in Africa, perhaps based in Nairobi. And the same gentleman was the head of the IPKF in Sri Lanka at the time. Now, that's rich to lecture us at the time about nepotism. It was one of the key complaints. And we then find that, so is nepotism an international pastime of the people who have power, or how do you see it?
Actually speaking, this role of the UN has not been today. It has been there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And this keeps continuing. And you can see for us the influence that is being used by these groups to get involved with the UN is also a big thing. But we did not play that role at all. According to Mr. Ban Ki-moon itself, he said we never had this welcome before, and we never had meetings with these leaders so well. So that was a statement that he made, and we couldn't even speak to them. We couldn't get proper answers from the previous government, was Ban Ki-moon's statement this time. But here, he has a friendly chat with everybody. He even goes to Golface. He meets everybody, so friendly, so well. But he also at the same time said what they wanted. That was the ultimate message that he gave to the Sri Lankan. Is no jokes. Jokes apart, we are very strict on these type of things, and you have to fulfill these requirements that you have already promised with us. I think except the president, no other person was able to tell him off. But president was able to tell that everything is rosy here, everything is good, everything has been done. We agree, but it will be very slow.
And we are handling it.
We are handling it. So this message was given to the UN. I think he had the guts to tell that to the UN Secretary General, that at the time that he is leaving this position, that we will do it, we will go slow, we will handle it well. Was the message.
Like we know how, because we won the war on our terms.
Exactly.
It was a homegrown problem and a homegrown solution. So you, in your ultimate assessment, if I put it to you that our president did well, would you agree?
Of course.
He did well.
He did well. Well, actually, not that he did well also, but he had to say that.
Right.
Because from the day we have seen, after January 8th, the 19 months of performance has been slow.
Indeed.
So you can't expect anything overnight from this government with people like Mahinda Rajapaksa, Jinesh Gunawardena, Vimal Veeravansa, Udaya Gamambila being in the opposition. Because that is the opposition that is shouting for no. With them it's difficult. So they are trying to buy over people to get this problem settled.
When you mean buy over, what do you mean? Do you mean financially?
See, for us, the situation was not that good because the UNP did not have a power to form a government. They had to seek the president's assistance in forming of a national government, which they did. So all those people who are in the national government are also not for the national government, but for position they had to come into the system. You can see various SLFPs making statements time and again of the national government and always wanting a pro-SLFP government next year. But here they have signed up for 5 years on a note for people to see that we are going to be united for 5 years. But you can see comments coming out from them that by next year we should have an SLFP government. So it's not that easy for both Prime Minister and the President to move this way, because there are elements that are wanting to disrupt the unity of a national government.
But the bottom line, Mr. Sali, is the bottom line that the UNP cannot survive without the SLFP and the SLFP cannot survive without the UNP.
All future elections are going to give you that result only.
Right.
Nobody is going to get a clear mandate, because people are also now so confused, unhappy with the performance of the present government. So you can't expect anybody to get a clear majority to form a government, because Unut Tekai, Munut Tekai is the ultimate result by the people.
Before we go on to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party's convention and the crowds yesterday, let me ask you this. You've just said they're the same, we're the same, everyone's the same. I went and visited some line estate workers' accommodation in Norelia. And it was, for want of a better word, it was actually rather appalling. Appalling because they get paid a very minimal wage. And after all their various deductions, they get 450 rupees a day. And okay, without the deductions, it's about 600 rupees a day. But that doesn't mean they get 30 days work. They're telling me that depending on the leaf availability, they may get 4 days work, sometimes 5. They certainly don't get the other 2 days. Their conditions are appalling. They live in a little 10 by perhaps 15 feet room, which is dilapidated. The conditions are awful. But this has been going on for decades. The man there told me that his father had also lived in this same room. And then somebody else pointed out that these were actually the former stables. So in 1840, this building was a stables, the horses. And so now these people. You see, I contrast those conditions with the availability of our wonderful tea in all over the world. You can go to Dubai, or you can go to London, Washington, wherever, and you'll see this tea being sold at fancy places at very high prices.
But don't forget, for us, the market is coming down for the Sri Lankan tea. The other countries, Kenya, India, they're taking over us because of the problems that are faced by the tea exporters with the Sri Lankan customs. Containers of tea for months and months are at the customs without being exported.
I see.
Several issues have come up, and Honorable Ravi Karunanaike has taken up this issue several times, but the custom is not budging an inch. Even they are going against the tea board approvals. Even if the tea board has come to the premises and cleared those teas for export, still the custom officer concerned is one individual who is stopping the export. I don't know what reason. Something has to be investigated in a big way. Coming back to the question of the workers, if you see them, as I told you, for decades this problem has been there. This government too proposed that each person will be given 7 purchase of land and a house for them to live. Where is this? When it's going to come? I saw Digambaram, Manu, all the people making a statement that we are coming up with these houses and all this. I don't know when this is going to come, when this is going to be distributed, when the people are going to have a free time. This is absurd. 19 months.
But there are people who are, whether you're married or single, you're still living in this 10 by 15 along with your family. And there are wider social issues that come up as a result. And when on this particular line that I went to, when I asked them, what do you want? What is the biggest single item that you would need here as a group of people? And I was astonished because I expected them to say, I want a better house, or we want a house with more space, or something on those lines, something significant and so on. Or I thought perhaps they would ask for the core wheel to be painted or whatever. But no, what they said is, as you pass by, did you notice a wine shop on the right-hand side? I said, yeah. I said, well, can you help us to close it down? Because they said that all of this little community there were terribly affected by the presence of a wine shop right in the midst of the area that they live in, within walking distance. So they suggested, we're not saying close it, we're saying take it away and put it in the town. Because there's 2 schools. There's a Corville nearby, there's a couple of schools nearby, and there's this wine shop. So children have to actually pass this place, and with all those attendant problems.
Actually, Farad, this is a very good thing, because more than the Corvilles or the temples or the mosque, you see wine shops around the country.
Indeed.
And the community who is really working this labor section is definitely affected, because with the little money they get, that person is into alcohol. Once he assumes it, the whole livelihood of the family is gone.
Indeed.
And there is legislation in this country, wherever there is a place of religious worship, wherever there is a school, you can't have a wine shop for 500 meters from the school.
But I can assure you that this is
exactly
well within the 500 meters.
And I simply don't understand as to why this government also cannot close these things. Because you are not going to hit anybody by this, but you are only going to implement the regulation that is already there, existing. So this is very simple for the excise department to issue out a circular to all police stations to inform them, and they might have, because they are the people who are the licensing authority. They know the list of places. Go and see wherever there is a Corville, where there is a church, where there is a mosque, where there is a temple, and also see a school. Close them down immediately. Let it be any politician might be owning it, but close it down. Take on policy decision. If everybody can start shouting for slaughter, halal, all these things, this is the most effective thing.
Right.
This is ruining several families. First get into this. Get these things cleared.
Indeed.
Eating is not a problem. Anybody wants to eat, he will eat, the others will not eat.
Indeed.
We'll have it like that.
To discuss about the impact of the 65th annual convention of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, which was concluded yesterday, join us after this short break. Don't go away. After all, this is Newsline.
Maybe.
And welcome back to Newsline, where our guest this morning is Mr. Azad Saleh. Now, Mr. Saleh, let's come to a topic that you are an absolute master at, politics. What do you make of it? Vast crowds in Kurunegala. It appears a runaway success. What do you make of it?
Actually speaking, this move of the president should have happened long time ago. I think the force was on him that all these so-called people who are in the joint opposition and who are dictating terms have not fulfilled any of the requirements that was necessary of an organizer. Forming your Saka Samiti, your committees, a lot of things that are given as guidelines for an organizer to do, which was not done. They were only talking at press conferences. So now that decision of the president to remove the so-called powerful people and appoint, even sometimes people who are defeated also have been appointed. It was good because that shows that nobody is big to the party. Anybody can be removed. So by that, the people also thought that the party is going on the right direction. So people rallied around the president to give him support, to not to destroy the party, but to bring the party together. So now it has been proven that these so-called people who are in the joint opposition are no force. They were planning of another thing against it. Nothing happened. Mahinda Rajapaksa ran away, but from there also he had to run away from Malaysia also.
Well, it's
just out.
Good job that he wasn't at the airport. He may have been assaulted too then.
Of course, that situation would have happened. So, I was very upset when I saw the government paper, which said yesterday, on Saturday I think, it said Saturday, that there was a group of 50 people protesting against Mahinda Rajapaksa. First page news. I was stunned because I have a video clip where you can see thousands of people around the area where the protest was going on. And for the Daily News to say that there was only 50 people who were protesting against Mahinda Rajapaksa's visit to Malaysia. Why should they do this?
Well, obviously somebody is trying to fine-tune.
Exactly, and there are still people who are in the system. This is what I always keep the UNP and the national governments telling them, that Mahinda's people are around these places and they keep writing these type of wrong statements. We don't agree to what people did for an individual or the former president going to Malaysia or all that. That's his freedom. He has the right to go for a conference, all that. But even the protest, why don't you write it the way it happened? Why do you want to twist it to say just, why do you want to mention the number at least?
I've actually got an answer to that, but they'll think that I'm promoting the network. But I'll have to say it, because it's what you say. You see, our tagline, it's news first. We report,
you decide.
You decide.
Exactly.
So that's what they ought to have done. But obviously they didn't. But Mr. Salif, on a wider picture, when you have these political rallies and there are all these people, I mean, I estimate that there are there are 150 electorates, and there's if we presume that each electoral organizer brought in, say, 250 people, that would bring around 37,500 to the center. We know that there were two lots of 25,000 seating in two places. We knew that there are even more people stuck on the roads outside and so on. Fine. Well, my question is, does this all end up in votes for the party?
But I was also waiting for you to come out with this. For us, I mean, each electorate organizer has to prove himself, because there is a group of people who are watching you and who take down how many buses you bring.
Right.
I saw even MPs and ministers who can't contest elections and win. They are also organizers.
Right.
What they do, how they bring people, is by paying money.
Right.
So every organizer has to prove himself. So 25 buses, 30 buses. Sometimes even our own people tell us, I took 15,000 people. They don't know to calculate. Each bus you can maximum put is 50. So 15,000 means, just imagine for us,
300 buses.
300 buses have to go. So it's not practically possible, right?
Yeah.
And there again, it is not the MP's money or the minister's money, no.
Yeah.
This also somebody in that area or the businessman whom the minister is dealing with has to sponsor.
Indeed.
Not
Indeed.
a single cent will be spent by the minister or MP in that area for this.
Correct.
But the area businessman is completely finished by this.
Right.
He is forced to get them 10 buses, 20 buses, like that. Everybody is. Or if the government was also like the previous government, the CTB would have been given the order, okay, put all our fellows and send to this area.
But yes, but hopefully, if they had done that, they will end up answering questions from the Presifac or FCID.
No, for us, I'm very sorry to say the FCID is not doing their job, right? Okay. I mean, let me be very frank. You can see the way the FCID files cases, and just these people are just coming and going. Like when they come as people who have robbed the country, and when they come out of 7 days or 5 days of remand prison, they come as heroes or political leaders. You know, they have worked for the country, and people are going in their thousands to welcome them.
But do you think corruption? Do you think corruption is?
And before I forget,
yes.
Last time this government came, filed cases against the CTB. To whom did they file? They filed for Sushil Premchand and Anupriyadarshini Yapa. What happened now? They have withdrawn that.
Do you think corruption is, just as we come to the end of our program this morning, do you think corruption is the sole preserve of the Rajapaksa family?
I mean, corruption was his theme, I may say. That was his theme, robbing. But they sat comfortably and robbed the country. But now the present lot is running and robbing. This is the difference.
If Gotabaya Rajapaksa can be charged for this avant-garde matter, on matters connected to avant-garde, and obviously they're charging him because he was a public official as a defense secretary, why can't they charge Arjuna Mahendran from the central bank? He's a public official. The Auditor General says 1.6 billion was lost, and that he didn't act in a manner that was expected of a governor. Why can't he?
See, your first question about Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
Yeah.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa should have been the first person this government should have arrested.
Right.
Up to now, they have not done that.
Yeah.
See, all the people who had elephants have been charged already, but Gotabaya was not charged.
We need to finish
now,
very quickly. Yes.
Now, it is before the COPE.
Yeah.
Now let the COPE, there are opposition members more than the government. Let them come out. Let them make the observation. Let them come out and say that he has made a mistake.
Wonderful. Azad Sali, thank you very much for being on Newsline. We hope to have you here next Monday, ahead of you going to Moscow, I think. Thank you very much for watching Newsline. Do take care. Have a great day ahead and a great week ahead.
Thank you, Farhad.
God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.